If you're a photographer and you've ever thought to yourself, I'm just not good with numbers, or you're scared to check your bank account because you really don't want to see what's in there, or maybe you feel like your income is all over the place and you just don't feel secure, or you panic around tax season and think, will I even have the money to pay? Or lastly, you secretly carry shame thinking, maybe I'm just not that good of a business owner. If you've ever felt this way or are feeling this way currently, I just want you to know you are not alone. I have felt these things in my 13-year photography journey too, and I made this episode just for you. Today, I'm opening up about a really intense breakdown moment I had in my business last year, the kind that had me in tears, staring at a nearly empty bank account and wondering if I would be okay. But there is good news, because after every breakdown, there comes a breakthrough, and I'm excited to share that with you. By the end of this video, you'll hear the messy, real story of what happened, and I'll walk you through the simple system I used to rebuild from almost a no revenue year to a $195,000 revenue year. Yep, even after feeling totally lost and stuck and worried if I'd even be able to bounce back. So take a deep breath and just know you are not behind, you are right on time. Let's dive in. Back in January of 2024, I had a wake-up call moment. I looked at my bank account and I realized I was almost out of money. When I calculated things, I realized I had about $30,000 in guaranteed revenue for 2024, which was hardly enough for me to cover my expenses. Not only that, I'm a photographer and also an educator, so I am essentially running two businesses. So it was definitely not enough to even come close to covering my business expenses for both my photography business and my education business. Just 2 years before that, in 2022, I had my biggest year yet in revenue in business. I made $270,000 that year as a first-time mom working part-time hours. So what happened? So the moment I realized where my business actually was and I had that wake-up call moment, I told myself I would never let my business get to this point ever again. I made myself a promise. But before I tell you how I was able to revitalize my business, first I want to tell you the story of what caused this in the first place. If you are here for the step-by-step practical tips, feel free to fast forward past the story and just go to the chapter that says profit first, and I will break everything down step by step. But if you are an OG listener, or you're like, I want the juicy story, tell me the juicy story, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of lessons that I am so excited to pass down to you with my vulnerable open story. If you want that story, keep listening. In February 2022, I became a first-time mom, and I had 32 weddings on the books for that year because of that whole post-pandemic wedding rush where everyone's like, oh my gosh, the doors are open, we can get married. So that was amazing. I wasn't afraid of all of those bookings because I had a plan in place. I had already been outsourcing for years. I already have had really smart outsourcing workflows in place. So the plan was for me to work part-time hours, literally with 32 weddings. Yep, part-time hours. This includes shooting time, and then spend those other hours being a first-time mom and having family time and all of that. So that was the plan, and the plan worked. From May to November of 2022, I was able to actually work 25 to 30-hour weeks with that many weddings because of my workflow. And actually, if you want my exact step-by-step workflow so you can see what I outsource when and how much time it saves me, you can grab it below. Link is in the description. It's called my 3-hour post-wedding workflow checklist, and it gives you the exact step-by-step, and it's absolutely free for you. So this workflow helped me actually save 70% of my working time at my computer. I used to work 70% more at my computer, but now I work 70% less. And that's how I was able to have such an incredible year of making $270,000 in my business while shooting 32 weddings, being a first-time mom, and working part-time hours. And I know what you might be thinking. Wait, Sarah, you made $270,000 from 32 weddings? And the answer is no, because I have two businesses. So how much did I make here? I made $165,000 from weddings and sessions that year, and the rest were from my education offers for photographers. As you can see, I mentor other photographers, hence this YouTube channel, and I have a launch every single October for my Outsourcing Made Easy program. And that year in 2022, in October, I had a $100,000 launch for my OMI program. So that's where that extra revenue came in to make up that $270,000 year. Come November, to celebrate such an amazing year of becoming a family, of wedding season being over, and the huge successful launch that I had, we had a trip planned to go to Barbados for a whole entire month. Rory, my fiance, was on paternity leave. I can never say that word right. Paternity leave. I don't know. So he was on paternity leave up until December that year. And we were thinking, what other time in our lives do we have this opportunity to take a full month off together as a family, especially as a new family? So we were just so excited about the opportunity. And this was a dream come true for me. When I tell you, I've been working so hard to figure out a way of how I can create an experience like that, not just for our family, but also like our parents and our friends. I've always dreamt about being able to rent a place like that, for example, and then people just come and join and enjoy time with us. Like, they don't have to pay for the place, just pay for your flights, come, and we've got it covered. And it was just so special that I've actually hit that milestone and we were able to make that happen. This was especially special for me to be able to give to my parents, because my parents are first-time immigrants to Canada, and they came here with $2,000 in their pocket and a 2-year-old, hello, me. And they came here without actually even knowing where they would live. Like, when they flew here and landed here with me with a 2-year-old and $2,000 in their pocket, they had no idea where they would sleep that night, and they figured it out. And something I'm so grateful for is how supportive they were of my dreams growing up. I know not everyone has that, so I'm just so grateful, because whatever new interests or hobbies that I had, they were there to like help me have that. Like, I had piano lessons, dancing lessons. They would support my extracurricular activities, like doing sports, all of those things. And they did that even though we lived paycheck to paycheck and there was a lot of stress around money, but they always gave me that. So for me to have been able to give them this gift of like, hey, we rented this villa, come to Barbados for a week and we're just gonna live there and enjoy it, like, was seriously a dream come true. And if you know me, I'm very open about talking about money, about numbers, and I don't believe that it's taboo to talk about it. So I'm very open with sharing how much I earn, how much I pay for things, just so people can also get inspired to see what's possible for them, AKA you. I'm doing this for you. I want to share this with you. So I want you to feel and see what's possible for you as long as you take aligned action in your life and business. So we paid $17,000 for this villa for a month, and we were able to host different family members, different friends. Each week we stayed there, and I just felt so abundant, so grateful. It was just like everything lined up, and I was like, it's here, it happened. My dream came true. I ended up taking that month off work. Obviously, we were in Barbados. But the thing is, in the back of my mind, I felt uncomfortable. And it was this like quiet background noise of feeling uncomfortable. And I think it was because I stopped working. When we came back from our trip, Rory started work again. And all of a sudden, I was the primary caretaker. And that's when I totally got ambushed by this thing called postpartum depression. It's like it hit me like in a very delayed way, because before that, I was very distracted. I only had 2 months off after Ben was born in February 2022. And then because I had 32 weddings on the books, I got into this like productive frenzy to just like make things happen and have that like work family life balance happen. And then this is the deep part that I realized. When the work went away, I realized who I wasn't anymore. I wasn't the Sarah that had all the time and freedom in the world to work out, sleep in, build my business, just spend time with Rory, traveling. It was a huge lifestyle change, and it literally smacked me in the face. And what caused the postpartum depression was resistance. The resistance that I wish that I had life the way it was before, or the version of myself that I had before, and it sent me spiraling. I was genuinely so freaking happy and so clear on my life direction from 2024 to 2019. And then the pandemic brought out some fears in me, specifically fears about being judged by others for my opinions and viewpoints, because I had never really seen so much division and drama on social media. Social media used to be this positive, uplifting place for me, and then all of a sudden it turned darker. From there, I turtled a bit, and then then on top of that, layering becoming a first-time mom, not knowing what to expect, I felt like my world got flipped upside down, my lifestyle got flipped upside down, and I couldn't find my bearings anymore. And I was never the type of person that felt this draw to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, I wanted everything. I wanted the time abundance to have with my kids and work on my own schedule and have as much time as I wanted with them. I wanted really fulfilling, thriving career where I could do what I love, do what excites me, lights me up, have an impact. And so when Rory went back to work and I had those 2 months of just being the primary caretaker and I was going through this depression, we're like, okay, let's just hire a nanny to help support, and then you can just dive back in and get that part that you want in your life. So March 2023, we hired a nanny so I could have that time and space to rediscover myself in a sense. Honestly, that was like the priority because my mental health was my priority. And then I was hoping that it would bring back that inspiration to continue to create and work, because I mean, work doesn't feel like work to me. Like creating these YouTube videos, going out photographing weddings, it doesn't feel like work to me. But what was so interesting is that it felt so hard to even think about doing those things, and it was because of my mental health. And so the summary of the whole 2023 year is I felt so stuck, so unmotivated, and so confused. Like I felt like my body was in one place and my soul was in another, and I didn't know how to have them meet in the same place. I stopped being passionate about work. I wasn't the passionate mom that I wanted to be, and I couldn't put my finger on why I was depressed because I was functional. So like on the sliding scale on the spectrum of depression, like no one would actually think I was depressed, but it was this background vibe, and I didn't have the energy and vitality that felt like I was truly being me. So because of this, everything felt hard to me. Even things like simple marketing and maintenance of my photography business. I even doubted if I should be a wedding photographer anymore. So much so that I was literally sabotaging my business to the point where at the end of 2023, I only had 4 weddings booked for 2024. When normally at that point, I would probably have like 15, 20, 25 weddings on the books for the following year. At that point, I was fine with it because I was self-sabotaging. I didn't consciously know I was self-sabotaging, but I was fine with it because I thought, even for some reason, that I'm supposed to totally pivot and have a whole new career or something. Then January 2024 came. I had just invested in a $17,000 group coaching program for the year, hoping that that would be the key that would help me rediscover myself, help me find that motivation again. And I knew myself, I knew that I wouldn't spend that kind of money and then just have it be wasted. Whenever I invest in courses or programs, I always took action, even if it scared me, even if it made me uncomfortable. And I've always experienced growth personally and in my business from taking courses. And like my mentor, James Wedmore says, the transformation is in the transaction. Once we put that money down, even though it feels uncomfortable, you are committing yourself to transform and you're committing to do things differently. And so the transaction is like its own little accountability buddy. But this was the moment, like I mentioned at the start, where I realized I only had $30,000 in guaranteed revenue for the following year. And on top of that, it's not like I was holding a ton of cash in my business account. That's why I was like, oh wait, shit, my cash is dwindling in my business account. And as a forecast for the following year, I only have 30K guaranteed. Oh shit. That was a big oh shit moment. So that month, Rory ended up helping me crunch some numbers. He has a ton of experience with managing finances through work, so he brought that great logical aspect that I needed at that time to help me figure this out. Over the years, I've had a very intuitive approach to money, which actually really worked for me really well somehow. I had never budgeted before. I just kind of had a good sense, and my business was always growing and evolving, and so I always just had revenue coming in, so I was never really strapped for cash. I was never really strapped for paying my taxes, all of those things. I just was really good at intuitively managing my money. So for years, this worked for me. But something interesting that I discovered in my human design chart is that one of my natural gifts or natural instincts that I have is understanding how to allocate resources intuitively. And this includes money. But I think at this point, in January 2024, the universe had plans for me to learn a new skill that will take me to a whole nother level. I think the universe wanted me to learn money management to help me prepare for where my business is destined for me to go, because I know I am meant for something bigger than me. Ever since I was a little kid, I felt like this feeling of like, there's something big I'm going to do in this world. I don't know what it is, but I know it's going to happen. And as the business grows and evolves, and now I have 2 businesses, it's like things do get more complex. And guess what? That requires a new skill. So in that moment, Rory was offering his help. And for the longest time, I resisted him coming in and like looking at my numbers and helping me make budgets and all of that, because I'm like, no, I'm intuitive. I got this. It's been working. It was working. But if I had just listened and let him in, and I got to play both cards, the logical financial game and the intuitive financial game, I think I would have probably even more money saved. I think I would have probably been even more ahead financially now. So that's just like a little lesson I want to pass on to you. I think it's beneficial to have both. So finally, in this moment where I'm like, had that oh shit moment, I decided to get uncomfortable. I decided to let Rory help me calculate some numbers. And he's like, okay, this is where you are now. Just take a lesson from it. I'm like, yep, I'm right there with you. I've already decided this is a lesson. This is only going to make me better, stronger, and I'm never letting this happen ever again. And let's create a plan. So he helped me calculate things, and he helped me figure out exactly what was my minimum needed to cover all my expenses for both businesses for the year. He helped me figure out how much we needed for me to contribute to the household income. And we figured out all of those numbers, and then that created goals for me. I was like, okay, I have 30K in guaranteed revenue for 2024, and now I know I need X amount to be able to pay our bills and pay the business expenses. Anything else is bonus. Sarah, don't stress about it. It's just bonus. So I was like, okay, now I know that's my North Star, and I got to work. So that was the moment that really set me up in a strong way, mindset wise, and like logically knowing what numbers I needed to hit to like revitalize everything. And I'm so proud to say that at the end of 2024, I had gone from only having $30,000 in guaranteed revenue for that year to ending up with $195,000 in revenue, like actual cash collected that year. And this is because I gave myself structure, clarity, a new relationship with money, and my evolving self. And if you're still here, thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope it gave you some insights, some lessons, or just that feeling of not feeling alone or like there's something wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. You are doing your best. Type the word story in the comments if you heard the story, because I just want to see who is here to hear it. If you're in a similar spot, or you just want more peace or profit or success in your business, stay tuned, because in the next part now, I'm going to be sharing exactly how I use the profit first method each month in my photography business. And if this resonated with you and you want to stay connected on our journeys together, make sure to like the video, hit subscribe, and share this with a photographer friend that you know would benefit from this video. Okay, so let's get to the good stuff now. I intentionally created this transformation in my business and my financials through the Profit First system. I first heard about it from my mentor, James Wedmore, last April, when he said this was one of those books that really transformed him and his business. And I was there on this business retreat for like 3 days, and there was so much information coming at me, so many like pieces of advice and tips. But you know, when you hear something so much louder than normal, it's like he said that. He's like, Profit First, that book. And it was just like so loud in my ears, and everything was brighter, everything stood out to me, and it hit me so hard. And I was like, whoa, I need that. I need to understand what he's talking about, because I'm on this journey of evolving with how financially literate I am and how I use my intuition plus logic to manage the finances in my business. So I committed. I bought the audiobook, I listened to it on walks, and I only even read half the book, because the author himself says you only really need to read until this point. The rest of it is like more advanced. So as soon as I got to that point, I sat down and I took action on the action items he had mentioned in the book. So now I'm going to break down the exact concepts and the exact steps I take each month to manage my money. If you've never heard of Profit First, it's a money management system created by Mike Michalowicz that flips the traditional accounting formula on its head. Instead of revenue minus expenses equals profit, because that's when we're kind of sitting there hoping, let's hope that there's something left for us at the end. He suggests that the formula is revenue minus profit equals expenses. So in other words, you pay yourself first and then you run your business based on what's left over. It's about taking control and making your business work for you instead of the other way around. So here's how I use the system in a very simple and doable way. I do my allocations twice a month on the 10th of every month and the 25th of every month. This is when I do the following. I transfer percentages from one account to other accounts, which I will explain in more detail. I pay my contractors like my virtual assistant, my editor, my bookkeeper, etc. I pay off my Visa, I send all my digitized receipts to my bookkeeper, and I review cash flow and upcoming expenses. It's like my own CEO money date twice a month, and you can totally make a vibe of it, put on good music, and just make it fun. Like, it actually gets to be fun. In the beginning, it might feel a little awkward because you're just like, oh, this is weird. I'm not used to taking these steps. But once you continue to do it month after month, it becomes a really, really fun game because you start seeing progress. And progress, that's the part that makes it fun and exciting. So I have 5 separate accounts in my main business account, and they're all for separate reasons. First, I have my revenue account. This is where all the revenue goes that I collect from my clients, for my students, and this is like the money holding bucket. So then I have a profit account, and this account doesn't get touched. This is where you start off by a very small percentage. You just put 1% of all of your earnings in this account, and it's for anything like giving yourself bonuses in the future, or saving up for that extra course that you want, or honestly, anything you want to do with that money, but it stays there and doesn't get touched for a while. Then there's the owner's comp account, which is owner's compensation. And this is where you get to pay yourself. Hello, regular income. Then I have the OpEx account, which is for operating expenses. So this is where I would pay for all my Visa bills, pay my contractors, anything like software, editor, all the expenses. And then I have a tax account, and this is where I move a specific percentage every month on those allocation days to save up for my future taxes. So I'm never feeling like, do I have enough to pay the taxes? It's always there. And usually you just have some money left over after taxes and you get to just do whatever you want with it. So this could be a game changer for those that forget to set that money aside. These 5 accounts might feel like overkill or like, oh, why do you have to do that? But trust me, this was the game-changing part. I can just quickly log into my bank account, see the status of every single account, and just feel so much peace and order and organization and abundance. Because when I see money sitting in my income account where I get to pay myself from, and I see that it's there and that's all mine, it's the most abundant and stress-free feeling. And I just want that for you. I want you to have that peace and excitement around money.
Now I want to visually walk you through how I actually do my allocations on the 10th and 25th of every month. Again, I just followed exactly what the book told me to do because clearly the guy has a lot of experience in this area. And I like being able to really see what's happening bi-weekly in my business and be able to go through this process. It's actually a really, really fun process to be able to, see my money being moved and organized in a nice way. And it ends up being like a little fun money date with myself. So this is essentially what my bank account looks like. And the cool thing is that I learned from the book is you can actually go into your online banking and rename your bank accounts. So I was able to rename mine, like you can see at the start of every account, like the top one says revenue, and then it says profit first, tax, owner's comp, and OpEx, which is operation expenses. And just so you see the percentages here. So profit first. So the 1% is if you go through the book, you'll learn the term CAP, current allocation percentages. So currently, whatever money I have that comes into my revenue account, this is like if I get paid my remaining balance for a wedding client or a session, anything like that, it comes into this revenue account here. Then what I get for profit is 1% of that. That's my cap. That's my current allocation percentage. And my current allocation percentage is 15% for taxes. My owner's comp is 44. So 44% of all the revenue I make currently, I keep as my own income. And operation expenses, I have it at 40%. And currently this is strategic. It's because I'm in a growth period in my business. And so I'm investing a little bit more money right now just to get myself somewhere, a new place for the long term. And then this is going to go down. And what you see here in brackets, and this is how I was able to like rename my actual account. I just added this in so I can always know exactly where everything is at. So TAP means target allocation percentages. And that is the target that the author suggests that you aspire to, you get to. That's essentially your goal of if you are there, you are like thriving like crazy in your business and everything is running smoothly. And it's crazy because I already feel like I'm doing really, really well in my business. So, but it's fun to know that there's even better times to come. So my target allocation percentage is to get my profit to 5%. And again, the profit account, it's not that, oh, that's only your profit from your business. No. Think of it as like your owner's comp, technically for us small businesses. Owner's comp is our profit. It's what we get to keep, take home. I think of this account as like the fun account. It's like if I want to give myself a bonus, or if I want to really invest in a program that I know is going to teach me a lot and help me grow as a business owner, I can take it from here. I can give my editor or my VAs bonuses. Like you can do so many different things with this account. So the target is 5%. I'm so happy and proud to say that I've gotten to the target for my tax. So I'm there. I'm literally where I'm meant to be. My target for my owner's comp. So I want to be making 50% of my revenue. I want that to be my take home. As my business grows and evolves, this will shift and change too. This is just my current goal. And then for operation expenses, the target ideally, even for all businesses, should be 30%. So I'm going to be looking to lower this. And essentially, if I were to like lower, let's say if my OPEX was at 38% for my current allocation percentage, I could then distribute that, be like, oh, where do I want to put the extra 2%? I want to put it in the profit first account and have it be 3%? Or do I want it to go to owner's comp and then I get 46% of everything that I make? So that's how that works there. So now let me walk you through like a real situation with like just a made up number here. Let's say I have $2,500 sitting in my revenue account. So now what I do first is I just literally type into Google, like, what's 1% of 2,500 equals 25? And I write this all down like a little sticky note and I make all my calculations and this is what I get. And then I go ahead in my online banking and I transfer the correct amount from like my revenue account here. So yeah, then we have the slides here. So $25 into my profit first account and you see this amount getting lower and lower. Then $375 into my tax account, then owner's comp 1,100, and then OpEx 1,000. And then I end up at 0 here. So everything is properly distributed here. And I do this again bi-weekly. So then you have this money just sitting here. And then in the next 2 weeks, you might have another $3,000 sitting here. And then you do the same thing. You distribute it. And then you slowly see these numbers increasing. And it's so fun because if at some point you notice, oh my gosh, I just have so much sitting here in my profit account, or I have so much more than I actually need for my expenses in my expenses account, you can then, in a couple months later or once every quarter, change your current allocation percentage and lower it and be like, I'm going to give myself a raise. Time to pay myself a little bit more. So this is such a great way to like really stay organized and keep track of everything. And then the final step on these days on the 10th and 25th of every month, give or take, if it's a weekend, I do it on a weekday, right? Not on the weekend. I make sure to pay off my credit card in full. I technically have 2 credit cards. I only use this one. This one I labeled it as assistant. If in the off chance we have a assistant here at our place that helps us for about 3-4 hours a week, just with like general house stuff. And sometimes if I have like a package for a client that I don't want to spend my time driving there and back to the post office 25 minutes and it's on the way for her to go home after she's done here, she can drop it off, use the assistant credit card, and then she keeps the receipt and brings it to me next time. So it's a whole little mini system. And so I rarely use this one. So essentially, then on the 10th and 25th of every month, you can be super on point with like paying off your credit card and do that. And then final step is I also make sure to pay my virtual assistant and my editor and any other contractors where invoices are due around that time. So that's my whole process of like my little money date that I have with myself bi-weekly.
So here are some of the reasons why this system works so well. It creates clarity. You don't have to wonder about what you have left to spend in each category of the business. It gives you peace of mind. You know you're setting aside money for you, for the government, and for the business. And it keeps you making smarter decisions because you only invest from your operating expenses account, meaning you keep your business lean and really intentional. And it also gives you a clear direction of how much more money is needed for you to earn so that you can put together a plan of how to book more sessions or weddings. It keeps you motivated with knowing that clear number and you have a clear goal. It gives you a clear direction of how much more money you need in each category. And then that way you reverse engineer a plan of, okay, I'm gonna book X amount more sessions. I'm gonna book X amount more weddings. That means I'm gonna put myself out there more. It just really gives you that North Star and gives you motivation to hit that goal. And if you're wondering where I'm at this year now with this whole profit first system, because you know my end of 2024 number, you know that I reached $195,000 in revenue that year. Well, as I'm recording this in May 2025, I am so proud to say that my owner's comp account, which is my compensation account from where I pay myself, is so beautifully and abundantly filled up because of the system that I have enough money to pay myself for the rest of the year in there already. So if I didn't earn another dime, even from like other weddings this year, guaranteed income, I already have it all sitting there to pay myself. So guess what? When you reach that point, guess who's getting a raise? I'm gonna get a raise. And I feel like, honestly, I got a raise, not just financially, but also energetically. Like I have that raise in energy, in peace of mind, in calmness. And I'm here able to tell you this because I had a moment of decision and commitment. I decided to commit to the process and I chose each and every single month on the 10th and the 25th to follow the simple process and allocate percentages from the revenue account, the one big bucket where all my money goes, and then allocate percentages. So slowly but surely, January 2024, up until now, it's May 2025, I was able to get here one step at a time. And I just want you to know that as long as you commit to yourself and you take that kind of action, you can also find yourself in that position. And I only read half the book and got these massive results. So don't let the thought of, oh, another thing to learn get in the way. Just commit to yourself, take that action step because it's such an easy, quick way for you to learn this skill. It could just be you going on walks and listening to the audiobook, or you driving and listening to the audiobook. And then when it's time to actually implement and take the action steps that the author suggests, that's when you just do a quick phone call to the bank and you're like, I want to open up 4 more bank accounts. And the cool thing is you can actually rename your bank accounts like next to your actual account number. So mine, it says revenue, profit, tax, income, owner's comp, and OpEx, so operating expenses. So I get to like see these little beautiful labels and it's just so organized and nice. Trust me, you'll love it. So if you found this video helpful, please let me know your favorite takeaway in the comments below. Also, I put a lot of time, energy, and money into creating these YouTube videos, so I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe if you want to stay connected on our photography journey together. You don't have to go at this alone, and I would be honored to be your guide and your mentor along the way. Remember, your business gets to support your dream life, and Profit First helped me find my way back to mine. Also, if you like this video, be sure to check out this video here and keep the learning going.